to our tabs that are available. Contact your professor. Okay, I put that picture up because pretty much everything you need to know is in my syllabus. Has anyone looked at my syllabus? How many pages? Rather hefty, right? Okay, that's because I cover anything that could possibly be a question. Okay, I cover all my policies, everything. The best way to get in touch with me, email. Even though my office is here, downtown campus, because we're in class 11 to 1:45, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, okay? I usually get here by 9 o'clock in the morning, but I come teach class, then, you know, I'm like you guys. After class is done, you know, I'm kind of gone too, all right? So, if you need another office hour, just let me know, okay? I do have some online office hours that I've set up where if you want to chat with me online, I can arrange that also, okay? But chances are, if you got questions, you're probably going to ask me here in class, okay? So the best way is with email because I have it on my tablet, on my phone, everything else. The assignments that we're going to complete, once again, everything will be here under the folders. I posted my late work policy. However, we'll talk about that when we get to the syllabus. Assignment submission. This is basically, I've still got one in here that I need to get rid of, so I'll update that. But this is basically telling you step by step by step how to complete all those assignments under the assignment tab. But hopefully you guys are good to go with that. The tips and pointers that I have posted, this is letting you know, no, class is not easy. If you're taking other classes with this one, I hope you're not working, okay? Because this is a tough class. It requires a lot of hours of study. Rule of thumb, 3 hours for every credit hour. This is 4 credit hour. This is 12 hours a week. Because we're condensing it into half the time, that means 24 hours a week of study time. Now, granted, you know, it's probably not going to take that much, but you see what I'm saying, okay? It's not going to be easy. We do cover a lot of material in a short amount of time. Yes, you are expected to be in class on time. It starts at 11. This is a professional setting. Behavior should reflect such, okay? Test, yes. My tests are hard. But let me ask you a question. Why are you taking my class? Or maybe I should say, why are you taking this class? What do you want to be? 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 Huh?
Pharmaceutical rep.
Oh, rep?
Yeah, well, I'm at VCU, and they require anatomy and physiology for it, because I'm exercise science.
Anybody in here not going into a health field? Just you. Everybody else going to a health field, right? Okay. That means, hopefully, if you get into your programs of choice, at some point, you're going to have somebody's life in your hands. Yes, no, maybe. Answer me. Yes, no, maybe. Okay? Now, do you want the person, if it were you, on that gurney, I know I'm going to be there one day, okay? Do you want that person standing over you, having to go to find information on how to take care of you? I don't, okay? I want them to be able to think on their feet, number one. I want them to have a background knowledge of what they're doing, 2, okay? And I know that you could probably take this course under a much easier professor. I realize I'm probably the toughest. That's what I've been told, okay? However, I've also been told by people who run the programs, okay, that my students perform the best in their programs, okay? Because I will push you, all right? I will have high expectations. And that's what you're going to be getting when you go to your programs of choice, okay? So this is your base course. You can understand what we're going to learn in this course, you're going to have all your other courses taken care of. They're going to be good to go, okay? So yeah, my test will be hard. Yes, I do give an essay question, but guess what? I give you a heads up on it so that you can study for it. So at test time, you know what I'm going to be looking for, all right? So I don't surprise you at all. All the material has got to be studied, okay? I think I need to change the page number because I've moved it to the end of the syllabus. But at the end of the syllabus, and I'll show it to you when we get to the syllabus, I have listed basically everything I want you to know. Chapter by chapter by chapter. It follows the chapter material. It follows objectives you see in the book, okay? It's there. My suggestion, take the document from, or that part from the syllabus, copy it, paste it into a Word document, create spaces between each objective, and as you're reading, as we're doing notes, whatever the case might be, write down information, okay? You can use that for studying. That's the best way that I can give you to study. There is no material that does not need to be studied, all right? Unfortunately, this is not a class where we can, you know, like, oh, we don't like chapter 7, let's skip it. We can't do that, okay? So just about everything is going to be covered. I do recommend, like I was explaining earlier, about the book's website, all of the material that's there. Oh, I did have a research project, but I found we don't have time, so I got to take that out too. Now, this is your core course, and like I've said before, it's going to be the basis for everything that you're going to be going forward to study. Any questions so far?
Like you said, the expected room. I'm not saying that like I'm later, but I do take the bus from the parent, and they started earlier to get it than normal, so it's not a regular thing.
Sure. Yeah, we'll talk about that. Yeah. Now, under the course documents, I'm looking at these right here, and I'm trying to think if those really need to stay up there. But, you know, it's still a good document to have. Now, this down here, this was from a student in a previous class, because one of the things that you're going to have in part 1, you know, a lot of people, like, when people ask me, what do I do? What do I do? You know, that's my question, okay? I teach, all right? Well, what do you teach? Anatomy and physiology, and you get the look, you know? And so they're like, oh, do you have to know all the bones? Yeah. Do you have to know all? Yeah, to know muscles too, blah, blah, blah. So, had a student, because in part 1, yes, we do the bones, we do the muscles, okay? And she actually created this really cool PowerPoint presentation where you can like print it off and use it for the labeling and studying in class. Okay, so you can imagine she was a very good student. You know, she just was like right there on top of everything. So, you know, when we get to that part, just remember that those are here. These are all of my notes that we will use for lecture. Okay, so if you want to print them off, print them off. Now, I'll get to my electronics in a minute. Okay, so these are all the notes that we'll use for the class. So those are under course documents. Everything else, like for example, the course tools, I'm sure if you've taken any classes here before, this is where you would find the link to see your grades in the grade book. Okay, now one of the things, I'll get to that when I get into the syllabus too. And then all these little help links for students. So any questions about Blackboard? Now, let's look at my syllabus. All right, spring 27, class, who I am, my phone, best way to get in touch with me, email, my office hours, okay? This information right here is what we've pretty much covered talking about from the bookstore. When you scroll over this, of course, you should be able, oh, that doesn't work in PDF.
I tried to do that.
Okay, so that works with the Word doc. Okay, totally forgot that. Okay, but I did put it in the assignments folder, the assignments link. The course description, this is pretty much what comes from the VCCS as a whole throughout the state. And the course outcome, hopefully, what we're going to be able to do. Course expectations, okay, we are adult students, once again, professional setting, expected to act in such a manner. And then the weekly course schedule. This is basically all the dates that you need to know for anything in the course. Add drops next Monday. Once again, we won't have class, so another day that's going to be lost. Last day to drop with the refund, the W, the last day of class. Now note, the last day of class is when we'll take our final exam or final test. A lot of people just like to call it exam, but it's a test, okay? It'll only be cumulative in the fact of the essay question. So far as the rest of the test, just on the chapters up to that point, okay? The lab practical. Ever heard of one of those? What is it?
What we did was each like table will have like a question, and you have like a minute or so to answer the question.
Exactly. Okay, because for our purposes in part 1, with the two biggest systems we get into, bones, muscles, okay, we'll hit a little bit of the nervous system, but the majority of that will be continued in part 2. At the beginning of part 1, we do a lot of the cellular information, okay, which is a lot of looking at slides, okay. So at the end, we're going to do a lab practical. For the most part, this is when you're going to be expected to identify bones and muscles. Now, I've given you the list of everything I expect you to know, okay? So nothing is a surprise, all right? That list is there. That's what you want to know come the day for the lab practical. The way that it works, I'll have stations set up around the room. There will be something that has to be, questions that have to be answered at that particular station. You're given a certain amount of time. When I say go, shift, move, whatever the choice might be, you just simply move from this station to the next, okay? So it's not that difficult to do. In this table, these are the assignments and these are the chapters that we're going to work through. We'll work through chapter 12, and that's going to include chapter 26, which is a little offset. However, it follows the information from 1 through 4. Okay? The lab manuals, the exercises that we're going to complete, these are all listed. The lab practical, it says promptly at 11, and that's what we'll do first. We'll do the practical first, get it out of the way, and then you can do the sit-down part of the test. Okay? The Connect assignments, there'll just be simply one for each chapter. Okay? And they'll always be in that folder. The test. Now, it may be that at some point I have to add an extra test. Is that beneficial or not? It is beneficial, most definitely.